All right, hit the go live. Let's figure this stuff out. Do a little audio check. Just came out from a day out in the forest. Nice now, Burger Coke and Faction Wars. Hell yeah. All right, hit the go. What up, Cool Umbrella? How you doing? How you doing? Cool Umbrella, why aren't you an admin here? Hold on. Add as moderator. There you go. Now you can pin links and stuff when I mention things. But you do have a tournament going on in 3 to 4 hours. I forget. You posted at some point saying 4 hours, but I forget when that was. So do you have your own tournament, the Legendary Lord Scrapperino? That'll be fun. I know ODM has a tournament going on right now. It starts in 1 minute. So technically, you still have a little time to sign up. If you feel like playing something, watching the Faction War. Faction War Finals. There we go. Posted to the Discord. We are here. The army blocker you can all see in front of you is actually a live Photoshop thingy. And I gotta find the Phoenix Kings lobby so the players don't wait too long while I babble. Should be a pretty brisk stream today. Get everybody on board. In and out, 20-minute adventure. Because we have 2 best of ones. Between Norsca and Dark Elves, what we'll be starting with, the Phoenix King and the green one. And on the other side, we have the High Elves with Stingers from RTK and Papa Palpatine from DBD. So we have RTK, DBD, ODM, and XMT here in the Final Four. Yeah. Should be a fun time for everybody involved. Oh... The winner does get an image drawn by the people who make my little graphics that I sometimes use on the channel, like the one of Queek standing on a pile of skulls or Deathmaster Snitch having a cigarette. The same guy who does that will draw a picture of their chosen legendary lord from the faction they won with, holding a banner. On the banner it'll say, like, let's say the green one wins, it'll say like ODM's the green one, Spring Faction War 2023 winner, and from Norsca he could pick Throg, Wolfric, or really whoever he wants from that faction. If he wants a fucking mammoth to have it between his tusks, I guess I don't really care. It's fine. With the cheat mod still floating around, we didn't really want to offer like a giant cash prize like $700 to whoever wins, because that could just kind of encourage some pretty sweaty, maybe cheating behavior. Not that I think any of these people would cheat, but, you know, when we planned the tournament, we had to plan the prize pool, and you don't know who's going to be in the winning whatever. So we avoided the cash prize, we went with something like that. It's still a fun prize. What up, Adelmo? Helmet's here. Love me some Beastmen. Yeah, it is funny, because the meta's been shifting with the Chaos Dwarves being added. Obviously, we got this faction war underway as quickly as possible, right away. And the meta wasn't super figured out yet. Sorry, someone messaged me. The meta wasn't super figured out yet, so people didn't really know that the Chaos Dwarves were super broken, or Astrogoth was super broken, or any of that stuff. So they had a little bit more diversity in builds. Otherwise, I think the Chaos Dwarves would have made it to the top 4. But it is very telling that the top 4 are High Elves and Dark Elves, who have been at the top of the land battle meta for a couple months now. People are well practiced on them. Beastmen was a bit of a surprise, and Norsca would have been a bit of a surprise, but like, Norsca's really been up and coming recently. They're doing well in a lot of tournaments. They're not S tier, but they're a solid A tier faction, so not super shocked by the top 4. Again, the Beastmen is the bigger surprise for me. You do miss the puppy cam? The puppy's on a walk with Grace right now. What up, Rocket? How you doing? There is a side competition for predictions. Predictions for who would win the faction war. Whoever wins it just gets a for-fun prize of changing my Discord picture for a week to something that's not offensive in any way, like, you know, gore or nudity or anything like that. But outside of that, they can pick it. Rocket Roo. I'm gonna go through. Rocket keeps winning the dang thing. But this time, the Phoenix King, who's actually the top opponent here, the Dark Elves, Anarian, the Tax Collector of blank. I think it's Ulthuan. Yeah, Tax Collector of Ulthuan. If he wins this game, he wins the prediction. If he loses this game, he's tied with Rocket, and neither of them can score any more points. So we're going to have to figure out how to do that. But yeah, Rocket, what are you, a 3-time champion? A 4-time champion for the prediction game? Yeah. Well, your title's on the line, so if Rocket wants to keep his title, he's going to be rooting pretty hard for the green one. I also believe that he is your clanmate, if I'm remembering correctly. For some reason, I'm having a bit of stream jitters where I kind of forget very obvious facts. So yeah, you're rooting for your clanmate, and you're rooting to stay in the contention for the best predictor. No, Phoenix King, that's not offensive. Yeah, Cool Umbrella, you were not able to represent Nurgle or your greenskins at this faction war. I think you were busy on the qualifier dates. I think one of the elves will win, but I'm rooting for Beastmen. Players aside, because I do like all 4 of these players, players aside, just pure faction, like nameplates off, pure faction bias, I think I want the Beastmen and Norsca to make it to the finals. I'm a notorious elf hater. But all 4 of these guys are great, so really, whoever wins, I'm just hoping for good games. Oh, and more fun news. As I tend to do with Faction Wars, just because it is my personal preference, the final is a best of 3, but I think sometimes, again, when you're planning the event, you can get kind of a shitty best of 3, let's say, in the finals. If Dwarves and Skaven make it, it's like, okay, that just sucks. Last Faction War, I added Game 2 was Domination, just to switch up the meta a little bit, you know, when you know what the factions are. Like to keep it a little fresh. That wasn't super popular with some of the players. I do have a pretty land battle heavy community, but in the spirit of wanting to switch it up, Umaiz and Gojira and some other people have been working on this cap point mod. They've been very proud of, and we've been kind of supporting it on our Discord a little bit. We give them space to talk about their stuff, but I haven't featured it too much on the channel. I've been busy doing other stuff. But so this final will be best of 3, and the second game will be on that cap point mod, which all the players have already installed, so it should be pretty seamless transition there. But it's kind of like, it's King of the Hill-ish. There's a central point, no reinforcements. It's just like a land battle with community-made maps, and there's a central point that unlocks after a certain amount of time. If you capture it, it ticks up on points, and if you get enough points, you win. Or if you kill the entire enemy army before the points ever matter, you win. So it's like, it's kind of this hybrid solution between some people don't like land battles because of quick battles like corner camping or forest camping or spell kiting or any of that shit. It's like, okay, well, the capture point can make you come out and fight after a certain amount of time. It's fine. It's fine. I've had no issues with it. I still generally like land battles, but I also enjoy the cap point mod. Again, I haven't dove into it as much as I would like to, but I've just been busy. So. That's my spiel. Norsca feels really good against Dark Elves. Yep. We didn't do picks and bans or anything, obviously. It's just the luck of the draw. With a bracket of 32, you hardly know what matchups you're going to get. You prefer Dom matches, but you enjoy land battles from time to time. That's fair. That's allowed. What is that noise? One sec. Hush. Why are you making a buzz? Stop buzz. Okay. One of my external speakers that I use when I don't have headphones on was just making a loud buzz for some reason. For the armies of the Dark Elves. Again, you are in the top 4 of the faction war. You will not be seeing any memery, any chicanery. These players have known this was going to be their matchup for 2 weeks now. So they've probably done some training with some friends out there. They've probably done a lot of prep. So you are seeing the sweatiest, try-hardiest builds you can. We have Malekith up in the sky. Soul Stealer and his breath attack, keeping him as cheap as possible. A Canate Assassin. Why are you using the Black Dragon Egg? I just said we're not memeing around. We're trying as hard as possible. You take the worst item in the entire game. God, I hate it. Okay, whatever. Black Dragon Egg, I hate that thing, but Web of Shadows and Assassin's Trophy is plenty good. Triple Blackheart Corsair with hand bows, some Dread Spears, 4 Dark Riders, 3 Cold One Knights, and the Crows of Cain. Thank God it's allowed. I demand the mini-map. I don't know where I would put my thing. I'm sorry. On the other side for green ones, Norsca, we have 4 Marauders, 2 Marauder Hunters, the Axe variant, so armor piercing and shield breaker. Throg the Troll King, Familiar Balefiend of Shadows with Pit of Shades, and Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. We do have 4 Norscan Ice Wolves and 4 Skin Wolves. Are all of them armored? Oh my god, all of them are armored. Okay, we'll see how they do versus the Cold One Knights. I still feel Cold One Knights with their armor piercing don't really care if you're armored or not. And a lot of the Dark Elf missiles are armor piercing, but actually the Black Orc Corsair handbows are not, so maybe the Armored Skin Wolves will be a good tech piece here. Throg's lumbering around. He's probably trying to bait some of the ammunition out of these skirmishers since he can just regen, trying to save his Marauders. They do have bronze shields, but with 15 armor and just a bronze shield, they will take pretty decent poke from these things. Green One is advancing with some of his Norscan Ice Wolves. It looks like it was just a bit of a micro check. Make sure that, you know, Phoenix King is awake as some Dark Riders sally forth. They get caught a little bit on the rear charge, but really nobody's taking that much damage here. Here's the first commitment, but Malekith's already diving in and committing, and Throg is now surrounded by anti-large armor-piercing heavy cav. He does have support of his own, but we're going to need these Marauder Hunters with throwing axes to advance rather quickly and start supporting this fight. Otherwise, we could have a problem on our hands as the Norscan Ice Wolves do back out. Armored Skin Wolves, Throg, and these Marauders all continuing to do battle. Norscan support forces are being pulled up now. Pit of Shades caster is waiting ominously in the background. Wonder where his first spell goes. And Throg avoided a large portion of the damage. Norscan Ice Wolves are catching some Dark Riders, and they are going to start winning this fight. And now if the Dark Riders want to run away, they'll just get run down, because the Frostbite plus the Superior Speed of the Norscan Ice Wolves means they are just dead. This is why you are seeing a lot more of that unit from the Norscan meta. More Ice Wolves catching more Dark Riders, trying to protect this back line. These 2 throwing axes could be crucial in the late game, and Malekith is getting to fight Throg. Normally Throg would win it, but I suppose with the Canaan Assassins nearby, he does have that Assassin's Trophy to debuff Throg at any moment's notice. Norscan Ice Wolves, as we mentioned before, finish off those Dark Riders. And with Armored Skin Wolves plus a Melkoth's plus dog support, this is going to turn to a really bad fight for the Dark Elves. They'll need Soul Stealer plus some Terror Routes, maybe the Murderous Mastery pop. Yeah, Murderous Prowess has got to pop sooner. These Coldman Knights are doomed. Frontline fight is going a bit mixed. The upper area, where we haven't been focusing nearly as much, is going to the Dark Elves. Meanwhile, the Norscan backline has been mostly kept safe. We see both of these throwing axes are quite healthy. The Norscan Marauders have been suffering, but the Dark Elves taking equal casualties. The balance of power is still about even. The Dark Elves are slightly leading on damage value. And a Soul Stealer, no, it's Web of Shadows. Web of Shadows routes off everything here, and that Murderous Prowess is popped, and all of a sudden, Norsca is running for the hills. Big Pit of Shades up on the top field. Looks like it's going to hit Cold One Knights, Dread Spears, and a little bit of these Dark Riders as well, just at the cost of an Armored Skin Wolf, but the Armored Skin Wolf won't take too much damage from the spell. This is a big problem. Throg being caught out, no support after everything routed off. He does need to get some help over here. He has regeneration, which can keep him alive in the late game, but not if, you know, he entirely dies. Obviously can't bring you back from the grave, which is looking like where he is headed. Without their Lord, Norsca might be in deep shit. Skin Wolves coming back from the trees. Can they aid Throg? Marauder Hunters with their throwing axes would like to be supporting the fight, but they're busy fighting these Dark Riders, and as long as Murderous Prowess is active, those Dark Riders do cleave through infinite amounts of Marauders. Throg was terror routing, now he is naturally routing, still trying to regen up as Marauders keep him safe. There comes the Black Dragon Egg. Is it actually going to do any damage? Just a tiny amount. But Malekith will finish sniping out Throg. As far as the rest of the map goes, Norsca is holding on. They are doing fine. The Lord Snipe is brutal. They still have a caster. They still have Skin Wolves. They still have Norscan Ice Wolves. But the Dark Elves aren't looking that bad either. Malekith, his Canaan Assassin, are obviously very healthy. 2 Blackheart Corsairs chillin', and the rest of the Dark Elf force is feeling the burn. But without Throg, who is officially dead, these dog-type units, whether it's Skin Wolves or whether it's Norscan Ice Wolves, they are just going to get so insufficient on leadership. And what the fuck? He routed already? What happened to you? You just got murdered, my friend. That Canaan Assassin is apparently putting in work on the poor Familiar Balefiend, who throws down a Pit of Shades just to cover his own escape. Might route off these Cold One Knights, but that Canaan Assassin is probably going to chase him off the field. Everything is routing for Norsca now. All of a sudden, Army Office hits. Damn. Well played. That Canaan Assassin pick was a little wild. He got himself some good damage. The little handbow guys did quite nicely for value. Dark Riders were okay. Cold One Knights, mixed but overall good value. But the Canaan Assassin and Malekith putting a lot of the game on their backs. Meanwhile, Throg only got 180 value despite how long he was in the fight. That is kind of surprising. Pit of Shades Caster did well. Armored Skinwolves struggled to get their high price point back. Norscan Ice Wolves did overall quite well. The Marauder Hunters with Throwing X's did okay, and Basic Marauders did well. But Throg and the Skinwolves, disappointing our good hair green one. Okay. I have a lobby code for Stingers and Papa Palpatine, so I will join that real quick. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's joining me as a player. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, there's the Stingers lobby. Needs a spectator slot, though. Stingers. I will message him. Spec slot, please. Pop Palpatine was still downloading the cat point mod. It should be done soon. But while that happens, I'll pull the blocker back up and update our little Photoshop. So the Phoenix King and the Dark Elves make it to the Spring Faction War Finals. Will they be joined by their eternal enemies, the High Elves? Or by, I guess, the Beastmen. I mean, nobody really likes the Beastmen in the lore. So it's hard to pick an eternal enemy for the Beastmen because, like, nobody likes the Beastmen. Chaos doesn't like the Beastmen. They think they're lowly and shitty. Any Order faction doesn't like the Beastmen because obviously they're Chaos. And most of the ruinous factions, the non-demonic evil factions, also hate the Beastmen because the Beastmen frequently fuck with their day. So it's, yeah, just sad moo noises. Is this best of 3? Finals will be best of 3. Is it going to be a short stream? Hell yeah, it is. Not every stream has to be long. All right. Stinger supposedly gave me a code with a spec slot. Lovely. All right. I don't have the mod on. I have it downloaded, but it's not turned on. I forgot that you need to turn that on. So for finals, we'll have to do that. Whoops. It's going to be a High Elf versus Dark Elf finals, isn't it? I don't know, man. Pop Palpatine's a scrapper. He don't give up for nothing. Stingers has been quite neat. Been pulling out some cool builds. I think he won the RTK Land Battle Tournament, the first one that came out with some white lions versus the Empire. What about Valkia? Ain't she vibing with him? I actually don't know if Valky is vibing with the Beastmen. I know most chaotic factions tend to look down on the Beastmen as being, like, impure. And the Dark Gods don't give a shit about the Beastmen. They throw them some mild favors, but they don't care. Bob Palpatine's here. Semifinal number 2. He instant loads a build. He did say in our private faction war chat that he had one ready. And we're in. Beastmen versus High Elves. Kazric One-Eye versus the Archmage of Life. No Imric. No... I suppose Pop Palpatine's always fucking taking Kazric, but you would expect to see, like, Doombull, Torox, or maybe just a Bray Shaman. Maybe Morgar. I don't know. Honestly, the no Imric is what's thrown me for a loop here. Somehow the Beastman returned. Truly a Palpatine moment. I gotta say, I've doubted Stinger before. I will doubt Stingers again. Is just my opinion. He could be right. This High Elf build looks wonk as hell. I'm not sold. Illyrian Reaver Archers are a unit that a lot of High Elf mains tell me is really good. And whenever I watch it, I go, huh, that was disappointing. But High Elf mains keep telling me, like, nah, this shit's good. It's good. Let it cook. All right. He's batting it all on 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers, because if I saw the build correctly, I glanced at it in the load screen. It's like a Silver and Guard front line to hold forever, 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers, some Silver Helms, and a Life Mage. I don't know where the DPS is coming from in this build. It's got to be those Archers. It's not a lot of deeps. It's not a lot of deeps. I'm not sold. No Terror unit against Beastmen seems sus. Hey, you never know what the Life Mage is riding. Maybe she's riding a dragon. Maybe. Maybe we downloaded the All High Elves Get Dragons mod. I remember when Kazric only had Vanguard times. It might not be a High Elves versus Dark Elves finals. Big Pog. Yeah. Oh. Though I will say, it's not that bad right now. High Elves Dark Elves was feeling brutal for the High Elves for quite a while. They just couldn't win. But there are 2 different pieces of technology that have come out. Well, one, Malekith got some nerfs, cost increase and whatever. Scourge Runners got gutted. So Scourge Runners made that matchup better for High Elves when they got nerfed. And then there is the bird builds that the High Elves have been using somewhat. Like Archmage on a eagle and then some other birds. Uh-oh, I have a ping and a weird loading screen. Okay. They have an Archmage on a bird and then 2 Phoenixes to help them out. That can do pretty well versus Dark Elves in some cases. There also have been White Lion builds that I like a bit. Not the infantry, the actual lions on the ground. Those builds can be kind of interesting. I have been seeing them blitz some stuff. She's on a dragon! She's on a dragon! I called it. I said she was going to be on a dragon. You all doubted it. I also forgot she had a dragon mount. I legitimately thought that was only the fire one for some reason. Malekith got nerfed. He got a cost increase, didn't he? I believe he did. Anyway, I was saying something. I forgot it. Means it wasn't important. Oh, yeah, the matchup. So there are some, like, White Lion... War Lion, sorry. Builds where the lions just run forward and kind of tear through a whole bunch of Dark Elf frontline. Can be okay, because normally the Dark Elves don't take a ton of anti-large in the matchup versus High Elves. Armies are getting set up. Archmage of Life with Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood on top of her Moon Dragon. Alright, we do have 2 Silver Helms, like I mentioned. We have the Pure Main Company, White Lion of Krace ROR, gives them Guardian, and just higher stats in general. We have 5 Silver and Guard to hold that front line. hyper elite. And then we have 4 Illyrian Reaver archers, one of which is the Herald of the Wind, which looks like they just have increased stats. Yeah, increased stats. The other side for the Beastmen. It's a lot of Minotaurs. We Minotaurs, great weapons. The Butchers of Kalkengard, ROR Minos, more Minotaurs with shields. 5 total. And then we have some Ungor Spearman herds just for a bit of bodies. We have 1 Centaur, 2 Centaurs, a Traderkin caster on his little chariot, and Khazrak One-Eye also on his chariot. It looks like he brought the Dark Mail and Apocalyptic Visions. So I already expressed my concerns about the High Elf build. I am worried about the DPS. On the other side, for the Beastman build, it is 5 Minotaurs is most of your money, and you are going against a lot of very elite spears in these Silver Guards, so I am decently concerned about both sides, to be honest. High Elves are going to try and skirmish for a bit, for as long as they can, delay the engagement, but the Beastmen being rather swift in general, like, their Minotaurs are fast, but their infantry is also pretty solidly fast. The High Elves are only going to be able to walk away for so long before they just have to turn and fight. So we'll see how much damage they can get out before they're forced to engage in that melee bump and grind. Life Mage diving on Khazrak? I'm super scared that the Minotaurs are just going to eat her alive. Alright, they didn't take the opportunity to surround her. It looks like they were a bit caught unawares by her sudden landing like I was. So just a cheeky poke onto Khazrak and she gets away. That was risky. That was super risky. I did not like it. Don't do that. I am so scared, frightened, alarmed. Stingers, don't stop my heart like that. Please, I'm an old man. Beastmen did catch some engagements on the far side. Ooh, Silverhelm's going to fight. Minotaurs with great weapons on the charge. They are not enjoying that. They're going to try to pull out while these Illyrian Reaver archers continue to fire in. Butchers of Kalkengard looking to also sate their bloodlust on the Puremain Company. And they get a decent charge off there. Already an Earthblood coming out to try and keep these Silverguard and Silverhelms topped off. Centaurs in the back line harassing the Illyrian Reaver archers, but getting surrounded by Silverhelms and Spearmen and more Silverhelms. That's going to be a very dead Centaur in a matter of moments. The Beastmen are trying to overwhelm the sidelines, and versus Silverguard, honestly, this is going okay, though the Brayshame is taking a lot more damage than I think he would want. But they are almost routing off that Silverguard, which is tough to do. Moondragon Breath Attack pushes off the Ungor Spearman herds, and the Centaur is also getting killed. The Beastmen are down on damage value, almost 2-1, and it is looking like it. Balance of power is still slightly in their favor, but there's a little bit of that balance of power that's kind of weird with Beastmen. And since Warhammer 2, they've had weird edges on balance of power. Brayshame of the Wilds took about 2/3 of his HP fighting these Silverins, and he really wants to get out of there. Khazrak continues to fight, trying to help out his Minotaurs that are getting shredded by the Silverin Guard. And still that damage value continues to climb for the High Elves, and the Beastmen are lagging behind. The High Elves even have healing, so really you want to be quite up on that damage value as the Beastie Boys. Here is a big moment. Traderkin, Overcast, plus Khazrak, plus Minotaurs with great weapons, all trying to snipe out the Archmage of Light. This is a big moment for the Beastmen in the game. If they can kill this Lord and Caster and Dragon all in one fell swoop, maybe they can drag this game back. Otherwise, I am worried they are just going to get attritioned out at this point. She takes half her HP. Good progress. But she does escape. She can easily get into the sky and heal. And now the Minotaurs with great weapons are surrounded on all sides by archers, by spears, by Silverhelms, and they are also going to get pushed back. And it's looking like a rout. Papa Palpatine has stopped the bleeding. He is now keeping up with Stingers in damage value, but that difference is still about 2,300, and it doesn't appear to be closing any, which is a problem. Silverin Guard almost routing on the top side. They have held forever. The Beastmen just can't seem to shake them. Khazrak now also bogged down in spears, surrounded by Silverhelms, not having the best time. Another Traderkin Overcast onto the Archmage of Life, who overcast something somewhere. She overcast something. She just took more damage, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter. The Hives are pulling ahead on the balance of power. And just looking at the state of the battlefield, I don't see how the Beastmen are going to be able to come back and clean it up. Khazrak gets dove on. Minos with shields going to try and surround this lady who is fighting Khazrak. Her melee stats aren't the best. They're still decent because she is a high elf, but not the best. Her dive attack actually takes her out of the protection of the spears and further into the Minotaurs. Khazrak is currently kind of kicking her ass. She needs to be careful, and she will just walk away from here. So Minotaur's trying to get around that blob to get to her, but they can't. She gets back up in the sky. She will be fine. 2 Silver Guard and a Silver Helm are routing. Other Silver Guard getting a little low. But the Beastmen, man, they're feeling their age. They're feeling the burn at this point. You have 3 Minotaurs left, all below half HP, and these Illuminary Archers are still firing. Maybe you could take it as a positive. They're running low on ammunition, but I think their ammunition is done when they need to. The Trader King Caster is just trying to get away from this Archmage of Life right now, and she better not dive onto him in front of these Minotaurs. Oh, no! Oh, no! I mean, she gets a terror out and stuff, but now you're super low on health and you're surrounded by Minotaurs. So bold. Her charge attack takes her outside the Minotaur surround, and it hits the Trader King Caster, pushing him off. She is probably going to shatter or kill him at this point, and Earthblood also for her. And these Minotaurs are just kind of bumble thumping around. Why haven't they, like, gotten onto her yet? They're just walking at her. That is a weird, weird moment. I thought for sure they were going to surround and kill her, and instead they just kind of bump up against her model and just continue walking her along to safety. I'd be pissed. I'd be mega pissed. That happened. That's probably the death knell for the Beastmen. They lost their caster, the Butcher's Cow and Guard are gone. Other Minotaurs are also routing. You're down to just Kazric and another Mino as your whole army. Breath attack onto Kazric to finish her off. Gets him nice and low. Balance of Power is believing a lot more in the Beastmen at this stage than I would. With the Healing Dragon Lord, a bunch of Valyrian Reavers left. I don't know. Isn't the RR Reavers in the melee? Sorry, I'm catching up on chat. Just looking like they might. Yeah, I don't know. When that caster landed, man, those Minotaurs were just like, I don't really know what's going on. Okay, I just work here. I'll just let her get away. That was silly. I don't know if honestly, if she had gotten sniped there, I still don't know if the High Elves lose it. They had pretty healthy light cav left to get some rear charges off. They had some decent Silverin standing around. So they might have still won it even with that, but that was a little silly. Or just walking out of there. That was good. Silver and Guard, man. They did fantastically well on that front line. Kazric got more damage value out than the Archmage of Life. Good for you, little buddy. Good for you. Minos did okay, didn't quite pay for themselves. Centaurs had nothing to accomplish, and the Ungor Spearherds got trashed on. GG, well played to all parties. I now have to go turn the mod on. I need to remember how to do that. So it'll be a High Elf, Dark Elf final. Just to summarize... That is funny, that it like summarizes the meta pretty well. We just see High Elves, Dark Elves everywhere. Okay, I gotta turn the mod on. I gotta remember how to do this. Mod Manager, activate. And then do I hit save or anything, or is it just on? Hit play. Play. Gotta go. Looks like I'm gonna miss the finals. All right, Way. You know where the thing is. The VOD. We'll be here. High Elves, Dark Elves. One of the meta elves are gonna lose, so it's a win-win for me. Yeah. All right. Transitioning to the sitting desk. Loading up the cap point mod to make sure I am on that. Skirmish versus AI. Land battle with capture point. Yeah, okay. So I'm on the mod. Cool. Okay, cool. We are good. So now all of these are red except for the Phoenix King's lobby, which means he is also on the mod, and I just told Stingers to hop on the mod. I need a spec slot, though. God damn it, Phoenix King. Mod for finals? Yeah, it's regular land battles, capture point mod, regular land battles. Even if it's 2-0, we'll get to play one game on the mod. Just because the meta can be a little different, it is quite similar. It is very, very similar to just vanilla land battles. But the only difference can be that, like, single entity healing squads can be a bit stronger on the capture point because in the hyper late game, if you have more of an army left, but I have weird. This thing's being dumb. If you have more of an army left, but I have a healing single entity squad, they can hold the point a lot better because it's a very small point than most other unit types can. Okay, well, it's a best of 3, so I have to go to this other screen anyway. So take that, recording software that's being mildly dumb. And now I'll re-pull this up. And it still doesn't show up. Why? Why don't you show up? You were just showing up a minute ago. There we go. All right. Get the blocker back in place. And now move the blocker down to its correct level. And we are there. Uh-oh. Phoenix King gave me like 700 spec slots. Why is the final in the new capture point mod? It is a mix of regular land battles and the capture point mod. And that's because I determine the tournament format before I start the tournament. So before I know who wins. And if you get to the finals and it's like a dog shit regular matchup, like Skaven versus Dwarves, playing on domination or the cap point mod in the best of 3 can at least mix it up a little bit in case you have a horrifically uneven traditional matchup. Also, I just think it's interesting. Big ups, Rat Boy. Much love from Ireland. Thanks, JC Kevins. I hope Ireland's doing well. I would do a terrible Irish accent, but then you would leave, and that would make me sad. Okay, the build phases for this might take just a second because, like I said, the previous matchups, the players knew they were going to play them for 2 weeks in advance. They had pretty much builds ready. They knew what they were going to do. For finals, obviously, you don't know who your opponent's going to be till you get there. Please do it. Promise not to leave. Oh, now I'm nervous. I'm being put on the spot. Nope, not gonna do it. Backing out. I can't do a good enough Irish accent. It's shite. Utter shite. Me lucky charms. That's all I got. Oh, and there's that Dacta guy from League of Legends casting, Orangey. I love how he says or. Orangey. I wish I was... Like, everybody thinks that they... I mean, maybe not. But some people don't think they have accents or whatever. I feel like Minnesota doesn't have a good accent. I wish I was raised somewhere that had strong accent energy. If it's not a Swordmaster Rush, I don't want it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's bold. Isn't it regular land battle first, then cap point, then regular again? Yes. But if you have the cap point mod installed, you can still just play on land battle maps. I just forgot to turn it on. But yeah, so it's land battle, cap point, land battle. Dark elves are ready. We have beautiful accents. Do we? Alright, Stingers has been sitting on Chaos Dwarves. I don't think that's the right faction. But thankfully I forgot to update the scorecard, so. Oh, Phoenix King has a super long name. Okay, we're gonna go XMT Phoenix King. Skipping the other side, we have RTK Stingers. Shameless plugs if you want more cap point action. We're having a tournament in 3 hours. True! Cool umbrella. That is why I made you a mod, so you could plug that stuff. Don't skip the. I'll go back and fix it. God damn it. XMT, the Phoenix King, but now it won't fit in the thinger. That's not fitting in the thinger. What if I do lowercase XMT? Yeah, lowercase XMT makes it fit. High Elves have a 0 gold spend. Dark Elves have a 0 gold spend. High Elves undid their 0 gold spend. Shameful. A shameful display. What's more important? An accurate competitive build to give you the best chance of winning in a Faction War Giant Tournament Finals? Or a 0 gold spend? Kind of a no-brainer, you guys. All right, we're playing some Chevron / Mount juggling. Be ready in a second. I didn't know you could take Hell Pit Abominations on the High Elves. I don't think they're very good here. I feel like the Dark Elves have too much shooting to take a Hell Pit Abomination, even as a surprise pick. Because, like, it'll deal with the Charybdis super easy, but I don't know, man. I feel like the High Elves have better options to deal with the Charybdis than a Hell Pit. You could just take 3 Rattling Guns. Zero gold spends are the meta. Seems like the next Total War game is Pharaoh, Rip, and Medieval Bros. Is it? Ah, that's kind of lame. Well, I kind of hope they have some mythological aspects to it, because I do think that adds a lot to the Total War franchise. Shogun was fun, but there wasn't a lot of unit diversity. Most of the armies felt same-ish. All right, the High Elves have 5 gold left on the board. I think the Dark Elves are going to take this pretty easy 1-0. What was the Scourge Runner nerf? The double projectile fix? Yes, Darko, it was, but it significantly reduced their damage output. Like, they feel very different now. You've always liked Hell Pits here. It's a good matchup. All right, War Lions versus Cold One Dread Knights. There is a bit of spice left in the world. It's kind of a crazy looking formation up here. What the hell? Damn. They gave up on historical Total War. Attila mod 1212 AD is will be the last medieval 3 we get. I didn't actually play Medieval. I entered the franchise with Shogun 2 and then straight into Warhammer. I was kind of hoping they'd come up with a Medieval 3 or something. Maybe it could be good. Then I would get to see what you all are talking about. What about the new Total War Pharaoh? I don't know. Someone in chat was talking about that. I don't know anything about it. The Troy Saga was BS. I heard, like, very little on the Troy Saga. I heard from the people that played it, they really liked it, but only 3 people I know of played it. And I'm in a Total War focused community, so that seems a little weird. We are loaded in. It is Imric versus Malekith. Get the big Dragon Lords out of the way. Just slap it down. Armies are going to form up a little bit, so I won't really talk about what's in them until they stop moving around. Otherwise, I miss things. What does Malekith have on him? Does have Gaze of Malice. No Power of Darkness, though. If you want to try historical, Rome 2 is still active multiplayer-wise, and has so many campaigns. I didn't think any Total War besides Warhammer had a multiplayer scene. I mostly just have trouble going backwards. I know Rome 2 is newer, so maybe it's better, but like, I tried playing Shogun 2 after playing a ton of Warhammer, and the unit control was just really hard to go backwards in time on, where my units felt so clunky and awkward. And there were times I tried to get off good cav flanks, and my units just moved like they had sticks up their bums, and it was annoying. Troy runs incredibly smooth, units feel really responsible, and that the aspects are meh. Gotcha. The armies! Triple Cold One Dread Knight, the non-anti-large but much more elite Dark Elf Cav pieces. Triple Dark Riders, one of them has shields, 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, 4 Bleak Swords, and 1 Dread Spear being the Hellebronai ROR with poison. I think that's their only real thing, is that they're poison. And then obviously higher stats being an ROR. Malekith up on his dragon. Gonna try and solo carry the game. On the other side, for the High Elves of Stingers, we have 4 Rangers in the front line, 2 White Lions of Chryse, triple Lothern Seaguard, none of them are shielded, 2 War Lions of Chryse, 2 Illyrian Reavers in the back, a Mage of Life with Fleshed Stone and Earthblood, and Imric, Lord of Dragons. Stingers was the original one I saw pulling out the War Lions, and now I'm seeing a lot more High Elf mains kind of dabble in them. So we'll see if the original creator of the Lion meta can make it come true versus Dark Elves. I tried it once versus Dark Elves. I had a War Lion-based build, and they actually did rather solidly. Because one of the biggest problems you run into as High Elves is your front line loses to the Bleak Swords if they get Murderous Prowess popped during it. So the War Lions can chew through them before that Murderous Prowess actually happens, and then without a front line, the Dark Elves can get whittled down. Scourge Runners will do a bit of kiting, but they have received multiple ammo changes over the years, so they run out of ammo rather swiftly, and without the double projectile bug, their DPS is way down, so I don't think the High Elves are going to pay too much attention to the Scourge Runners during the kiting phase. They'll just let them do whatever they want to do, keep them off of Imric and the War Lions, and call it a day while they advance. Scourge Runners are burning a lot of ammunition on the frontline infantry, which they're an anti-large missile piece. They usually want to try and hit other things. Cold One Dread Knights, however, getting a big charge onto the Rangers, doing a ton of damage, and Imric dives down into them with actually a pretty decent countercharge. Already takes maybe a fifth of the health off those Cold One Dread Knights. Malekith's going to have something to say about that. He dives down. Lothern Seaguard are supporting the fight, though. Gaze of Malice will try to push some of them off. Does pretty good poke damage there. And the Vuvuzela of Doom is already popped as War Lions immediately saturate the front line. These Bleak Swords are going down rather quickly. Rangers with 54 melee attack plus a bonus versus infantry is tearing apart the poor little Dark Elves as the dragon animation goes through. Looks like Malekith got the attack off there. He's even going to chuck down a Soul Stealer already for some healing. But things are looking tough for the Dark Elves in this early game. It just feels like the High Elves hit them with such ferocity, but oh no, one of the Lothern Sea Guards ends up in the front line. It is now getting attacked by Cold Wind Dread Knights, but they definitely don't want to be this close. And Dark Riders have gotten through. Do they go for the Lothern Sea Guard, or do they just rear charge some stuff? Looks like they're actually gonna... Oh, they're charging the Rangers. Okay. They will try to rat off those Rangers. Both sides keeping about even on damage value. Imric gets an attack off onto Malekith, who is in the air while Imric's on the ground, because dragons are working perfectly. And if you have anything else to say about it, you're a liar and a charlatan. Malekith, huge dive onto the Mage of Life. This is, most High Elf mains will tell you, it's important to snipe out the Lifecaster, not Imric himself. Because if you kill the Lifecaster first before going after Imric, you're fighting one Imric. If you leave her alive, you have to fight 2.5 Imrics. Malekith has already chunked that mage down to half HP. We have a sudden lag spike. But it looks like things aren't close to crashing for now. Lothern Sea Guard continuing to offer aid, and the High Elf frontline all of a sudden buckling on this lower end. Scourge Runners are going to chase off some of these White Lions of Chryse and the War Lions, Laren Reavers. Everybody is just routing suddenly. On the higher end, it looks like High Elves are doing a little bit better. And overall, the Dark Elf frontline has not withstood the test of time. Mostly it is just these Cold Wind Dread Knights and Scourge Runners that are left to help out Malekith. All the High Elves have some infantry, some archers, some cav. Scourge Runners in the backfield. Looks like they're going to try and shoot at Imric, who is landing right now, so he dodges a lot of those shots on his way to the ground. Malekith's still following him a bit. Damage value is about dead even. Ooh, and the Life Mage is actually routing. Someone's going to have to come over here and do something about this. I think Imric, honestly, might have to come over and help out, but Phoenix King realizes he has 2 Cold Wind Dread Knights following her off just to dissuade Imric from landing on them and trying to rout off one or something. Lothern Sea Guard shooting at Malekith as he chases Imric around the field. And it is a close one. Dark Riders now being given the task of chasing off the Life Mage, which actually could make them prey for Imric to come over and tear up them off and get his mage back in the fight. Big Soul Stealer is going to hit, looks like 3 units. Nope, just 2. Just the White Lions and the Lothern Sea Guards. Imric continues to fight against Malekith. Lord of Dragons on him, lowering his melee stats down to pretty paltry levels, and Imric is going to take his day out on him for now. Ooh, that is unfortunate. Imric got the super long dragon animation, which looks cool, but it's really bad. Because it wasted, like, he maybe could have gotten 2 more attacks off with the Lord of Dragons debuff on, but that animation takes so long that he didn't get to get a bunch more attacks off, and now Malekith's back at full power. Rest in peace. Dark Riders having a tough time trying to rout off this mage, and the Lothern Sea Guard are just punishing them for every second they dawdle around here, which is not the player's fault. It's chasing units is really jank. But yeah, the Lothern Sea Guard are going to be pushed off. The Scourge Runner Chariots have to even be committed to this area. High Elves in this back pocket are falling apart. Looks like the War Lions are going to piece out. Dragonhorns trying to keep everybody in the fight for now. But Imric beating the brakes off of Malekith is keeping the High Elves rather in this game. They're even slightly up on the balance of power with all of that going on. If the Life Mage does not come back, if the Dark Elves somehow manage to have enough resources to chase her off, then I still think the Dark Elves have a slight upper hand, but after the shellacking Imric gave to Malekith, this is a much more even game. As a breath attack from Imric does about as much damage to the Cold Wind Dread Knights as to his Lothern Spears, which is kind of funny. Still probably worth it because the Cold Wind Dread Knights are twice the cost. And Malekith goes for breath attack onto Imric, who scoots under it with a charge attack, and then goes back up into the sky with the movement. This man's got his dancing shoes on, and he is ready to fucking party as Imric kicks the shit out of Malekith some more. High Elves take a little bit more of an edge on the balance of power. Their wavering forces are rallying, and all of a sudden, it is a sea of red out there with wavering or gone blue health bars. The Scourge Runners and the Cold Wind Dread Knights are the last real vestiges of power left for the Dark Elves, as Malekith continues to opt into the fight with Imric. He will not back down from this fight. He has 2 more Soul Stealers in him if he's been effectively managing his heal cap. So if he can get away from this for a bit and just recharge some Winds of Magic and throw out some Soul Stealers, he'll be okay. But as long as he sits here and takes this fight, he is going to be suffering. He's even getting shot by Lothern Sea Guard in the back. The High Elves have rallied to try and save their mage. This Scourge Runner Chariot is really the last thing in the area that's trying to deal with her. Is there a Soul Stealer for Malekith, or is this game just outside of the Dark Elves' grasp? Scourge Runners on the sides. Both the Scourge Runners actually have a decent amount of ammo for the late game. And again, like, I talk about this mage a lot, but she is super important. If you can keep her running, Imric can't get any healing, and then honestly, the Scourge Runner ammo alone could kill Imric off. Malekith gets a Soul Stealer, heals up, Scourge Runners kill Imrik, game's over, Dark Elves win. But if this Life Mage comes back, they're mega fucked. Absolutely nothing these Scourge Runners could do. 2 Earthbloods on Imrik can eat up the last of their ammunition. They'll be just fine. Imrik can soul carry the game from there. It is over. Big Soul Stealer for Malekith. This is what he needed to stay alive, but can Imrik get him to rout before the healing really takes hold? That healing is not instantaneous, it takes time, but Imrik's opting out of the fight. He wants none of it, and that might end up being a mistake, but oh no, speaking of mistakes, she's slipping away. Do the Dark Elves notice the Life Caster is getting away? Yes, they do. They have attack orders all over here. They're not about to let her go. Big heal up from Malekith. I think Imrik maybe should have stayed in that fight and just gotten some shots in, because now Malekith's healed up a decent amount and Imrik still took the damage. And now Malekith is safe and clear to chase off the High Elf Mage. He'll come back with 1 more Soul Stealer in this game. Heal up plenty. The High Elves are just trying to rally. Now, luckily, your Lord is not your caster. So if the caster does get routed off here, it's not going to take a big leadership debuff, but still, without the healing, I don't know what Imrik can do. Malekith finishes sniping the little high elf lady. Dragons are one of the few things in the game that actually can smoke infantry-sized characters without much issue. For the Dark Elves, we have some Coldwind Dread Knights just clutching at life. Scourge Runner Chariots without much ammunition, and some Bleak Swords in the trees. For the High Elves, we have all 3 Log the Sea Guards still technically on the map, though only one of them is really feeling any strength left. So more Lions, some White Lions, and an almost dead Ranger. That hardly matters. The next Soul Stealer is going to hit Imrik, and this game is going to be over, I fear. Coldwind Dread Knights, even one with 42 HP, charges in. The War Lions get a counter charge, and they do... Ooh, they get a Last Dragon Horn. Nice. That does give them fear, which can make some of these infantry a little bit tankier. But 18 health on that Coldwind Dread Knight, and he will get pushed off. Malekith's taking a bit of Archer Fire, throws out his last breath attack onto them. Big chunk on the line with Seaguard. Does their leadership stabilize? Are they good? But 2 Coldwind Dread Knights have been pushed off. The Hellebroni were terror routed very, very briefly. And the Scourge Runners are using their ammo on the Lothern Seaguard, not Imrik. I guess Malekith is just very secure in thinking that his Soul Stealer is going to be enough to push Imrik off. Because Lord of Dragons is off cooldown. If Imrik gets a fight with Malekith, it's going to be a bad time for old Mally. Archers continue to poke away at the Witch King. And it looks like the Hellebroni will get charged by Imrik. That lowers their leadership enough to get them routing, though Imrik takes about 100 HP in the process. Damage. Scourge Runners have pushed off the Rangers. They're getting some decent shots onto the War Lions of Krace. And here come those Coldwind Dread Knights. Lothern Seaguard, don't see them coming. They get orders to turn and shoot now. Do they get any volleys off? Imrik is coming over, but he really doesn't want to end on the ground and give Malekith a chance to countercharge, so it looks like Lothern Seaguard are just left to their own devices, which is death. Those are death devices. Lord of Dragons has popped onto Malekith, but a Soul Stealer onto Imrik, and Malekith opts out. He's waiting for that debuff to wear off, and meanwhile, he'll get healing, and Imrik will get damaged, just like we predicted. Lothern Seaguard and War Lions also get hit by the Soul Stealer, and that'll probably be the end of the game for the High Elves, as Imrik shatters. Army losses takes hold. GG. Wasting Scourge Runner ammo? I think he was just shooting for the sake of shooting, because he was waiting for the Winds of Magic for that last Soul Stealer. Because like we called it way earlier, like the Soul Stealer alone just shattered Imrik and the game was over. Scourge Runners did well. Coldwind Dread Knights did fine. Dark Riders did okay. Bleak Swords and Dread Spears did well. For Imrik, 3,300, he did quite nicely, but his Mage of Life was sniped out very early. War Lions and White Lions did okay. Lothern Seaguard did very well. Rangers, honestly, not that great, unfortunately for them. And Lane Reavers did fine. But it was the Dragon Show, and it was a very, very close game. What adjustments will they make? Keeping that caster out won him the game. Imagine if Life Caster got even one regrowth. Yeah. I mean, she had Flesh of Stone and Earthblood, but like still, even just Earthblood spam. For sure, for sure. Honestly, that game was so close, and there was enough, like, play, counterplay, misplays, you know, that kind of thing. A salty run back would be kind of funny, where both people just keep the same armies and run it back, and I could totally see the High Elves winning it, you know? I really liked the movement for, Imric when, Malekith tries to breath attack him and he gets the charge order onto something on the ground, starts landing, so the breath attack just goes over his wings, and then he cancels the attack order, so he just comes up behind Malekith and gets a rear charge. That shit was sick. It was sick. All right, we're on to Road to Nuln, the capture point mod. Can the High Elves come back in it? GG well played to both. It was a banger game. It was a banger game. So, for the second game, there is no traditional sense of attacking rules or anything like that. Just the fact that there's a capture point dictates that, you know, if you want to corner camp, if you want to spell kite or whatever, that's fine, but your opponent's going to take the central point and get some ticks up. From the games I have played, I think I've played around 10 games on the mod all time. One of them came down to the capture point. Mostly the threat of a capture point existing just makes people hurry up and engage. Coops, that is true. Stingers. The Phoenix King. I forgot his name for a second because he keeps changing it on Steam because he's a goddamn memester. But Anarion, the tax collector of Ulthuan, preparing their armies for game 2. Complete side note, I've been reading the Malice Darkblade books. Very fun. They're very fun. They're good books. They're good books, all worth the read if you're considering it. And I won't go into spoilers here. I won't go into spoilers here if you're interested, but it is a very good book. One thing I will say is reading about Dark Elves has that issue for me where, like, Warhammer books in general are pretty good, but the one thing that they really don't care about, and it bothers me as an avid reader, I read a lot of fantasy books and stuff over the course of my life, is they tell micro stories, not macro stories, in a way, where, like, the world outside of the scene that you are in doesn't matter. And that is most telling reading these Malice Darkblade books, because they go to Hargoneth at one point, the place the Hargoneth executioners, the Shrine of Cain is and stuff, like, right, the city of Cain. And Malice enters the city, and he starts giving you a bit of a narrative backstory for the city, where he's, like, trying to tell you about this place, and he's like, Hargoneth, every night, I'm not joking about this, every night if you're caught on the streets, you are killed instantly. It is constant bloodshed and violence. And I'm like, how is this city still a superpower? Like, tell me. They would have no population whatsoever. And then he's like, He's walking through, and then some stuff happens for reasons. And, like, everybody starts murdering each other. Everybody is murdering everybody else for reasons. The streets literally flow red with blood. Malice is walking along one point, and he describes the piles of severed heads as going about to where his head is. He can look them in the eye, and they line the streets. And he goes through that. And, like, all this stuff. And then in the next... You know, the story continues. Obviously, he leaves Harganeth sometime. He's like, that was fucked up. That was weird. And then, like, none of the other Dark Elf cities just go take Harganeth. None of them just go kill them in their time of weakness. And then, like, a week later, he's talking to someone, and he's like, you can't do that. The mighty army of Harganeth will be upon you. Or, like, we can't do that. We can't upset Harganeth. They have the strongest army. I'm like, no, they don't. Everyone's dead. But then when they do that thing that upsets them, Harganeth shows up and they have an army. And I'm like, where did this come from? Everybody died. We were there. No one was left. Where did an army come from? And the Warhammer books are like, I don't know. We needed a Dark Elf army. We spawned one. Oh, it bothers me. Oh, it bothers me that they could just summon armies of Dark Elves. Oh. Also, one thing, again, these are just negative points. I'm not pointing out all the positive points. I'm really enjoying the Malice Darkblade books. I will say there's some serious jobbing in these books. If you don't know the concept of jobbing is in, like, a TV series. If in episode 1 there's a bully and your main protagonist has to overcome him, your main protagonist will, but by, like, episode 4 or 5, they can beat the bully in, like, one punch just to show how far they've come. That's jobbing. There is so much fucking jobbing in the Dark Elf books. We ran into some Harganeth executioners. I was like, oh, fuck, the Harganeth executioners are here. Wow, these guys are going to be so insane. And then they are not. Like, Malice, at one point, he's fighting one Harganeth executioner, and he has to retreat the fight because he's like, I can't handle how badass this guy is. And then, like, later, nothing's happened, but the plot needs Malice to get somewhere. He, like, legitimately jumps into a pile of Harganeth executioners, kills, like, 5, and just walks past them to get where he's going. And I'm like, what? Those are Harganeth executioners! The fuck he does? He's dead. He is dead as hell. You don't just walk through Harganeth executioners, you piece of shit. Oh, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. Anyway, I got us through the build phase. So we are here. We are here. I think if I remember correctly, Stingers took the exact same build. He is running it back. He has decided. I think my build was fine. I think my build was sufficient. I just need to execute a little bit better. On the Dark Elf side, they did go for something. Maybe the Phoenix King is just having a bit of fun. Maybe he's being a bit of a showman. I will give him that credit. But potentially arguing that he is taking the most competitive build possible, he could be focused on the cap point. Lokir Fellheart can be a rather tanky, small, ground-based lord that can sit on his cap point, because look how small the cap point is. If you get to late game and Lokir and some Harganeth executioners are holding that, it's going to be very difficult for the High Elves to take, and a Dragon Lord just doesn't count for much capture weight. So for the Dark Elves, we have triple Dread Spears, 2 Harganeth executioners, Lokir Fellheart on foot. We have a Sorceress of Fire with Burning Head, Cascading Fire Cloak, 4 Dark Shards with shields, and 4 Cold One Knights. So when's bed story time with Human Boy SS coming to YouTube? If that's the thing people want, I will change my entire channel to just do that. Okay. Downgrading AI missile units. Yeah. AI missile units are really dumb for some reason. Like, they just don't shoot most of the time. One of the reasons I dislike Druchii is that it doesn't make sense to them to be a major power when they're essentially hell-bent on making themselves dysfunctional. Yeah. Yeah. And I am enjoying the books. Like, Malice's story, if you just treat Malice as a character, is a great story. It's super well written. The character is funny. The character is believable. Like, when he's in the situations he's in, I believe his motivations, and it's well written. All that stuff. The macro story makes no fucking sense. Like, everything besides Malice's individual journey makes absolutely no sense. But the book overall, it's about Malice, so then I consider it a good book. Like, it's not about the Dark Elves, it's about Malice. So, It's good. It's worth the read. It's just like that one thing frustrates me. Warhammer lore is always stifled by everyone having to simultaneously be badass. Goji, yeah. Also, hey Goji, you streaming Umbrella's thing later? You streaming the Cap Point tournament? The armies have almost gotten to each other, so I will stop rambling and I will soon have to actually cover the game that we are watching. Thank you all for hanging around. Both sides setting up. Triple Other and Seaguard will actually get outshot by 4 Dark Shards with shields. So the High Elves are going to have to eventually get in the melee. Now, they don't want to just blindly chuck themselves into the melee because the Hargath Executioners can chew through nearly infinite amounts of Rangers. Actually, speaking of which, where are the High Elves? The High Elves have worse Cav, worse Archers, and honestly a worse frontline if you consider the 2 Hargath Executioners and you consider Burning Head support from the Dark Elves. So, yeah, the only difference is Imric. Because, I mean, the Dark Elves just literally don't have a flying presence, and they don't have a monster presence of any kind. So Imric's gonna have to turn this game for the High Elves. Because, like, if Imric didn't exist, obviously it's 3,000 gold worth of not existing. The Dark Elves win every other metric of this battle. I think we're seeing Hubby's favorite matchup. Hell yeah, dude. The capture points are ticking up. The clock is ticking. So yeah, if you're looking for more content today, ODM has a tournament going on right now. I don't think they have a caster for it because I was busy with this. Maybe someone else is casting it. And in about 2 hours, 3 hours, Goji, Umbrella, they will be casting some more action. We are engaged. Rangers plus the Warlions of Christ with Flesh to Stone, giving them 60% physical resistance. They are going to tear into these Coldwind Knights, and Lothern Seaguard offering a little bit of support here. Now the Dark Shards are making mincemeat out of Lothern Seaguard in the early game. Coldwind Knights diving forward, but these are not the Coldwind Dread Knights we saw last game. They are just regular Coldwind Knights, meaning they have way lower stats. Hargath Executioners down to half HP before getting into the fight. This other one is uncontested, and the Dark Elves still hold that victory ticket. Slowly advancing. And you see they did take it, and then since the High Elves were kind of mamby-pambing around, they advanced the battle lines ahead of the capture point. So now the High Elves can't even just, like, get involved in melee on the capture point and contest it. They're going to have to sneak something past the enemy lines and get onto that capture point. If this game even comes down to the capture point. Currently, Dark Elves are up on the damage value. Big Burning Head did go through the front line, and the High Elves are going to have to rely on some pretty heavy healing from Earthbloods, and a big breath attack from Imric takes down a Hargath Executioner, finishes it off from like half HP to pretty much dead. And the other Hargath Executioner is also quite low. So 2 very elite infantry for the Dark Elves, both suffering quite a lot. Elsewhere, the High Elf infantry is still doing okay. The cavalry really isn't. Both Illyrian Reavers have been pushed off. Both the Warlions are still chilling for now. Imric is taking a ton of damage from these Dark Shards. He's got to figure out where he needs to be. He's got to do something. Balanced power is turning against the High Elves. They are getting some rallying troops in the back line. Murderous Prowess has popped for the Dark Elves, giving them even better melee stats. A big Burning Head just annihilates the clustered up Rangers on top of this rock here. And it's even going to curve down into these guys. Okay, it didn't curve enough to really hit them, but that was alarming for a brief moment. And Imric is almost dead as he gets pushed into the backfield by these Dark Shards. What is my value on you guys? 1,400, 1,300 over there, as well as Dark Shards paying for themselves in gold, in cash, money, stock investments, in Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. Look it up. Maybe First Republic Bank. Anyway, making tons of money for now. Warlions have found their way onto the back line. They'll chew up these little Dark Shards. Other Dark Shards try to offer support, but the Warlions do have 30% missile resist, which will kind of help them a little bit. Cold Knights jumping back there is going to be a problem. Dark Elves still ticking up on the victory tickets, but you can see, like, the victory tickets don't skyrocket up, right? It's not like the game is going to be decided before the battle's over. The victory tickets are mostly there in case there's a lot of mamby-pambying about, etc. Imric tried for a breath attack. Looks like it either got canceled or just didn't fully really register, and an Earthblood is going to heal him up. I wonder if he tries to snipe out Loki or Felhard or what he's going to do. Imric just has not felt like he's found his home this game. He's mostly just been in the air, getting some decent breath attacks, but he's just not on the ground, not really offering too much pressure too much presence. And Lokir even is going to kill this Mage of Life, so Imrik's got to figure his shit out, and he's got to do it quick. It looks like he's coming over to hit Lokir. With a rear attack and Lord of Dragons, you should be able to get through Lokir's rather impressive melee stats, and that will be a good time for him. Dreaded Duelist plus Cascading Fire Cloak, giving him 108 melee defense, but that does not matter to Imrik. With his charge bonus plus just being on a dragon, he is kicking Lokir's ass, and the High Elves are taking the capture point for now, going to stop that point ticking, and they do want to delay this game. Delaying this game is in the High Elves' favor 100%. They just need the game not to end because they need to use this healing. They need to stay in this. They need to heal up Imrik a whole bunch, and that's their entire objective. So if this game ends, they are doomed. But big shots onto Lokir Felheart. Darkshard's still trying to punish Imrik, but doesn't look to be going too well, and Lokir went from full HP to almost dead. And the High Elves are creeping back on this balance of power. The White Lions of Krace, the Puremain Company, ROR, found the Sorceress of Fire, got some poke onto her. And the High Elves' tenacity is keeping them in this fight. These Rangers, these War Lions, just don't give up. They keep bumping, they keep grinding. Imrik lands again on Lokir, gets 2 more shots on him. Dreaded Duelist, my ass. You can't 1v1 a dragon. And he is taken down. Lokir is straight up dead, taking the Dark Elves' leadership down. Cold Will Knights are trying to rejoin the fight, are pushed off. Dark Shards that were already suffering are getting pushed off, and we have a mass rout coming in from the Dark Elves. Bounce Power is getting back to even. But same as game 1. That Life Mage needs to be kept alive. She keeps getting isolated and poked out, and that just can't be allowed to happen. That's the High Elves' only advantage in this game, is prolonging it and getting more and more heals off. As the Dark Elves mass exodus off the battlefield, we just have 2 Cold One Knights holding on to this game before the Dark Elves would otherwise be entirely routed. The Fire Sorceress, don't know what got to her, don't know why she's routing at such high HP, but she is, and Imrik can chase her down. Without that, the High Elves are really turning this game on its head. There's no shot that the Dark Elves can hold this capture point for long enough. I think this game is over, but Imrik's gonna let the Fire Sorceress come back. I have to disagree with that decision. No, you could have run her down. No! Looks like he really wants to start these 2 Dark Shards in the backfield, but that just isolates him for these Cold One Knights. Can't they just turn and fight him? Imrik, no, my boy! Imrik, no! He's starting to run now, but the Sorceress is back with her Burning Head, going down the line of these already wounded High Elves. One Ranger was already routing, but the Burning Head curves back into the High Elf lines. The Burning Head has a mind of its own, and it thirsts for High Elf blood. It does push into them, and then it bounces off the rock and hits the Puremain Company again, and it burns the Rangers! What the fuck was that Burning Head? Holy shit. That was awesome. Balance of power is back in the favor of the Dark Elves as they're rallying all over the map. The desperate High Elves are trying to chase them around, trying to pressure them off this map. Where's the Life Caster? She got isolated again with the Cold One Knights. And she's getting pushed off the battlefield by them. There's nothing nearby that can help her. And the High Elves had some great plays to snipe out Lokir Felheart. They had some great plays to get back in this game. But I have to say, they tripped across the finish line, and they are now struggling in it. The bounce was awesome. Yeah, that was great. They are struggling. This game is not outside of their control yet. Imrik, as we mentioned at the start of the game, he is the difference maker, and it looks like he is putting that work out on the battlefield for now, but I am still very concerned. There's some healthy Cold One Knights. There's some healthy Dark Shards that are going to cause him a lot of trouble, and allowing that Life Mage to get soloed out so many times in a row, allowing this Fire Mage that got 2 huge burning heads off in the late game, one that hit 4 different infantry pieces, one that just killed your last healthy Lothran Seaguard. You have to wonder if he had chased off or sniped out entirely that Sorceress of Fire, if this game would be different. But now the High Elves are falling behind. Can Imrik pull it back? He's taking some shots from some Dark Shards. They're chunking him down. He gets another charge attack into them. If they haven't terror-outed recently, they will terror out now. There they go. Imrik's still trying to carry. Some Lothran Seaguard have hung on to support him. The Life Mage is still being chased off. The High Elves hold the point, but the point doesn't matter. The point is not going to matter in this game. Just guaranteed you. It's not going to matter. Cascading Fire Cloak onto the Dread Spears. Dark Shard still poking away at Imrik. And where are those healthy Cold One Knights? There they are. I mean, not healthy, but healthy for this point in the game. Nothing's healthy over here. Does Imrik have any breath attacks? He has 0. Yeah, he has nothing. Imrik is trying to chase down the Dark Shards. He's trying. They are turning to maybe get off a couple little pokes at him, and any poke matters at this point. They are firing up into his little dragon belly. He tries to dodge at the last second. Dodges a lot of the damage, to be honest. He is going to dive in onto them. But balance power has turned drastically in the favor of the Dark Elves. Golden Knights on the high ground did eventually kill that Mage of Life. They will return. These other Golden Knights will return. And the Lord of Dragons has popped onto the Sorceress of Fire. That needs to happen. She needs to die. You're not super worried about the burning heads right now, but the main problem is her balance of power, just being a caster in Warhammer 3. She might army loss you. I actually don't know if this game mode has army losses, but it looks like it. Anyway, for the balance of power's sake, he does have to kill her off once and for all. Lord of Dragons was onto her, but he kind of flubbed his charge attacks for a while there. Now he's just walking around her. The burning head has routed off all of his support. Honestly, the Sorceress of Fire might just want to swing back at him for now. If she can get any cheeky shots off, then good for her. Imric's trying to hit her. Not having a lot of luck. Lathan Seaguard will hit these Dread Spears, and Imric's just walking into them. He didn't get a charge attack or anything. I do worry about him a little bit. The Pure Main Company's out here. These two Cold Knights are going to be a big problem. Lack of army losses is actually one of my favorite things about this mod. Alright, then it looks like it does not have army losses. Imric just charges into the spears. I mean, he is going to rout them off, but I still, like, I really wanted him to finish off that Sorceress of Fire. Like, he was having difficulties and stuff, but now, like, cascading Fire Cloak onto these Golden Knights, they are just going to kill him straight up. That extra armor-piercing damage, extra melee defense, he can't take him out, and he is going to get dragged down. And that is a GG. A valiant attempt and a banger 2 games from these two players. That was a wild burning head. I don't know if it's worth an entire video. I'll check it out later. But GG. I accidentally must have clicked through that final screen because we didn't get to see it. Damn, good game from both players. Very, very good stuff. But the Dark Elves and the Phoenix King will win the faction war of spring 2023. All right, so if that's all you were here for, you can head on out. No issues whatsoever. I do have a couple channel announcements to make real quick for anybody that is concerned. So the Phoenix King will take that. Congratulations to him. Next faction war. These take a while. As we noted, we had 32 players. We had them play over time. That sort of thing. Faction wars are also quite hype. We'll probably take about a little break here, maybe 2 weeks. And then I will start up the next qualifier because I kind of want to get it out before the next DLC. They said in the summer of 2023. I don't know when that is. I can maybe talk to CA behind the scenes and ask them if they know roughly when it is, because I don't want a faction war to be going and then a DLC comes out halfway through and changes the meta. So after the patch that comes out next week, I will try to figure out when to do the next qualifier. Okay? Okay, so that's faction war news. Other streams, we do have tomorrow, Blood Penguin versus Hanadins for BBB's semifinals. That'll be best of 5. That'll be a really good series. Monday and Wednesday, we have new player tournaments. Tuesday, we have faction face-off. So plenty of great streams coming up. Hopefully, you will hop on by for those things. That is all I have for now. So Phoenix King did end up winning the prediction for the faction war. He ended up winning the faction war. It's a double winner today for him. ODM has a tournament running right now. And there's a Cat Point mod tournament coming up in about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. Like I said, I keep forgetting when that is exactly. All right, I got to go help Grace run some errands. We got to get some stuff set up for our wedding. It's in a year, but like we're getting like, not today, but like wedding dress stuff, caterers, all the stuff you got to prep way beforehand. And I'm getting some tomatoes to replace my lettuce because I found out that my lettuce is fucking dead. It doesn't look dead because it looks like a plant, but I found out because it was growing little thorns on it. And I was like, what that about? Apparently it's inedible now because it got too hot too quickly for them. So poop! So poop, I say! Anyway, I got to run around town, do some gardening, do some stuff. We had great viewership today. Thank you for everybody who came out. Thank you for everybody who played in this big, expansive event. 32 players gave me a lot of their time, a lot of their efforts, and everyone was a good sport about it. We didn't have any rule break issues, didn't have any drama, and it was just lovely to cast, lovely to be a part of, and I want to thank all 32 players here on your screen right now for all of their efforts and their politeness over this event. It's been great. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Oh, Chaz gave $30 while I wasn't looking. Just woke up. Here's my contribution to the prize pool. Thank you, Chaz. Oh, that is another thing. Chaz, Black Knight, Cuden, and Strat Game, thank you for contributing to the prize pool. That is very kind of you all, and your support does make this a lot easier on my checkbook. All right, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.